Hi everyone, and welcome back to my video blog of my recent trip to New Zealand. Now, if you've been following along, in a recent round I played at Jacks Point Golf Club and I was playing really well, but I went double-double on 17 and 18 to shoot 11 over, and it kind of bugged me, so I decided to go back a couple days later. Now, the cool thing about this course is they have a really good replay policy. You can get a replay round within 14 days for like a little less than half the normal price. So took advantage of that. I went back a couple days later and tried to see if I could do a little bit better than the 11 over, since my swing was in pretty good shape at the time. So first hole, a par 4. Pretty straightforward hole. A little trouble on the left, but not really an issue for my fade slice. So we're off to a pretty good start. Left myself about 100 yards in. Caught this one just a touch heavy, and with the wind coming in, it was a little short just on the front side of the green. Now, in my first round, as you'll recall, I had a lot of issues with the speed of the greens. I had about 50, almost 60 feet here, and speed was okay, but still had about 6 feet left. And that's the first lip out of the day. So another 3-putt bogey to start, just like my first round. Now on to the second. Now last time I played this hole, I sliced it into the penalty area on the right. So I tried to choke up and hit a low one, but ended up just topping it. Didn't even go 100 yards, so I was still a long way out with my second. Just tried to play it out to the fairway with a 5-iron, but I pushed it and found myself behind this little bush tree. I was only like 150 out, but that bush was blocking my line to the green, so I just could only hit a little wedge and advance it. Fourth shot, I had about 55 yards left, and actually hit a decent one. And so I had about 18-20 feet down the hill to try to save bogey. Didn't quite make that one, so had to tap in for a double. So we're 3 over after 2 holes. Third hole, par 3. Only about 140 yards here. Kind of push, almost shanked my tee shot out to the right. And it left me with a pretty tricky little pitch here. There's quite a bit of slope on the green. I aimed pretty far right and tried to let the slope bring it back. Hit out how I wanted, but just wouldn't stay up there. So about 14 feet back up the hill to try to save par, and we'd tap in for a bogey there. Fourth hole, uphill par 4. Hit a good tee shot here, a lot better than my last time when I hit a little low liner to the bunker. Only had about 100 yards left into the pin here. Uphill with a little bit of wind, trying to choke up on a pitching wedge. Tried to hit a punch, but ended up catching it thin. Rachel liked it, but it actually rolled all the way through the green and left me with this really tough downhill pitch shot. It was downhill all the way with a lot of slope in the green, and that actually wasn't a bad shot at all from where I was. So another decent chance to save par, about 12 feet down the hill. Just missed that one though, so tapping in for another bogey. 5 over after 4. On the first par 5, it's a little dogleg right and then up the hill. Hit a really good drive here. Actually almost hit it too far because I didn't realize that you can even hit it through the fairway and the penalty area comes in. So I was pretty fortunate here. Over 200 yards, just laying up to a really tough green. That was a 9-iron. Just trying to aim for that little fairway on the top of the hill there. Hit a pretty decent one. About 80 yards to the green from here. Caught that one a little bit heavy. It made it to the green, but I was just on the front edge. So about 24 feet here or so up the hill for a birdie chance. And really I'm pretty happy with that, just to lag it close enough for a little tap in par, first one of the day. Now the 6th hole is a risk-reward par 4. Downhill under 300 yards, but It's really tight up there, so learning my lesson from last time, I just laid up with the pitching wedge, kind of pushed it a little right of where I wanted it to go. Ended up just right of the fairway in this little patch of rough, little side hill, patchy lie. Hit a pretty good shot. I think it might have jumped on me. I was only about 125 yards, and I hit my 125-yard club, but it went over the back of the green, leaving me with this tough little pitch back. Hit it pretty good, but I was scrambling to try to save a par here, about 20 feet up the hill. Pretty good speed, but still could only tap in for bogey here. On to the super scenic 7th hole with the lake in the background. Last time I hit an 8-iron into a pretty stiff breeze, but the wind was down, so I choked up on a pitching wedge. Caught it pretty good, too good in fact, and it actually sailed over the green into this downhill area. Now you can see that stake right there. It was marked off as a hazard, but I liked my lie, so I just tried to play it as it lies without a penalty stroke. Ended up about 40 feet past the hole, so putting back for a par now. And I still had about 5 feet left for bogey, which I was able to convert. But at this point, I'm still 7 over after 7 holes. So my goal to try to get single digits over par at the end of the round wasn't looking good, but hard to complain when you have these views, right? The 8th hole is a par 5 along the side of Lake Wakatipu on the left. The fairway kind of curves right and then back left up the hill. And with the wind off the left, it's a pretty good hole for my typical fade. And this was one of my better drives of the day. Hit this one pretty square and almost too good in fact. The fairway actually runs out at a ravine, and I was pretty fortunate that my ball stopped about 10 yards short of it. And about 220 yards to the green here, but I didn't want to go for it with the hybrid because it's easy to thin or top your ball into that ravine there. So I just hit a 7-iron, pushed it a little bit. I left myself about 60 yards or so with my third, which I was able to just pitch up onto the green. Left myself a decent look at birdie. It was about 18 feet, and that view distracted me, is my excuse. Never had a chance. So scrambling to save par, and that one sneaks in the right side. On to the 9th, kind of a narrowish par 4. I aimed down the left, but hit one of my straight drives. I was trying to do a little body English there, but that ball didn't fade. And in fact, I was pretty fortunate that it didn't get up into that brush. I was up on a kind of a side hill lie and a little bit of rough, about 140 yards out. Choked down on an 8-iron and actually hit a really good shot there. Landed on the green. And an unlikely birdie chance here from about 30 feet. After my last hole, I didn't want to leave it short. And I got it there, but I misread the break off the side of that hill. It was more straight than I thought. So again, scrambling with a 4-footer for par, which I was able to make. So 2 pars in a row. 7 over after the front 9, not too bad. 10th hole is a short par 4. Last time I hit driver here and I realized that it probably wasn't a good idea. So this time I laid up with the 6-iron. The wind kind of kicked it a little bit right. Missed the fairway a little bit to the right, but found a spot about 120 yards out. Again, this one was also kind of pushed, but there's a little hill right there, and that hill kicked that ball left, and it trickled onto the edge of the green, leaving me about 60 feet for birdie. Now, I wasn't trying to make this, but if you're counting, that's my 3rd lip out of the day. But tap and par, always take those. On to the 11th, a par 3, about 160 yards. Hitting a 7-iron, but the wind was really picking up now, and I thought I hit a good one, but it actually ended up past the hole and to the right. And so I had this uphill to downhill pitch left, and actually hit a pretty good one. And I thought this would roll out a little bit further, but it left me with about 10-12 feet for par down the hill. And if we're counting lip outs, That's the 4th. So tap in bogey. The 12th is a par 4. Now it goes the other direction from the 11th, so the wind is coming from the right now. Last time I hit a driver into like a troubly marsh area, so this time I went smart with a 5-iron. Hit a pretty good one, and left myself about 130 yards out. Going with the pitching wedge here, hit what I thought was a really good shot, but if you see that trajectory, you could see the wind kicking that thing left.
Ooh, stay. No!
So Rachel was disappointed because the ball landed on the green, but this knob kicked it left, and now I had to try to get up and down to save par. Hit another pretty good chip here. Left myself, actually it was really good, left about 6 feet to try to save par. And that was a brutal bogey because that put me at 9 over, and now I pretty much had to play even par golf to finish at single digits over par. And with the wind the way it was looking really unlikely. Still, you never know. Hit a birdie on this hole last time. Hit a pretty good tee shot here.
Sit. Perfect.
So it wasn't as close as my first time, but still a pretty good chance for birdie about 30 feet out. But first, some bonus footage of Rachel hitting a pretty good shot, even with the wind whipping. So I had about 24 feet up the hill for a birdie putt. Gave it a good run, but had to settle for a tap in par. So the 14th is a long par 5. Last time this is where we stopped because the wind and the rain picked up, but still pretty windy today, no rain though. Hit a pretty good drive here, but it ballooned a little bit. Left me well over 200 yards left. Tried to choke up on a 5-iron and keep it low for my layup on my second shot. Cut it again, pretty good, but again into the wind. It was a pretty tough shot. Still had about 75-ish or almost 80 yards here. From there, I was able to make it on the green. But the putt I had for birdie was kind of tricky. There was about 30 plus feet, but there was also a little tier in the middle of the green. Didn't quite get the speed right, and I left myself with about 8 feet left for par. And if you're counting little rim outs, that's my 5th one for the day. So bogey gets me to 10 over. The 15th is a par 4 into the wind. So try to keep my driver a little bit low. Hit a pretty good one there, just on the left side of the fairway. And left about 85 yards for my second. Pretty good shot here. Wind catches it a little bit, but it left me with about 20 feet up the hill for a birdie chance. I was not going to leave that one short. But even though I thought I hit it really hard, it only ended up about 2 feet past. Still not bad. Another tap in par. Moving on to probably my favorite hole on the course, the 16th. Downhill par 4. The wind was blowing pretty hard from the right and also in this time. So I hit a really good shot, but I was quite a way back from last time because we were playing more into the wind. Had about 185 yards here, downhill, but again into the wind, and the wind coming off the right.
Ooh. Looks really good. Sit. Go. Ah, kapi.
Both Rachel and I thought we hit a good one, but because of the wind, we came up a little bit short. So now we're hitting my 3rd, just trying to get up and down to save par when another lip out. That really could have helped. That would have brought me back to 9 over with a decent chance, but was left with about a 4-footer to try to save par and able to roll that one in. So 2 holes left here, still at 10 over with a downwind par 5.
Oh, okay.
So last time I drove it left of that bunker into the deep stuff, but this one was a good one. and with it downwind, it rolled out quite a bit. I had 190 yards left here, but downwind, I just hit 7 iron. Again, pretty decent shot. Drifted a little bit right, but was just off the side of the green here with a long little chip shot. This one, to try to get a little bit of run against the hill, I used a 9 iron and it turned out pretty good. And it left me with like about a 10-footer for birdie. That would get me back to 9 over. So really happy about that one. Last time I went double-double to finish at 11 over, but here I had a decent chance at 9 over. But the final hole, the 18th, is a pretty tough one. As you can see, super windy. It even knocked my camera that was on the ground over, so Rachel was holding the camera for me now. Again, a long par 4, pretty much dead into the wind. I would have to hit at least 2 really good shots to get anywhere near the green here. Hit a pretty good one there, even though it ballooned a little bit into the wind. I had about 220 left. Now, normally I would try to play it safe with trouble all along the left water, but I knew a par would get me to 9 over, and so I just decided to go for it with the hybrid and actually hit it really pure. I generally try not to hit a hybrid because it can go anywhere. I don't hit it that well, but that one was good. Had about 45 yards left for my third, and hit it really good. Just had about 5 feet left. So it all comes down to this, a little tricky little 5-footer to save par and finish at 9 over. Been having putting issues this whole time, but this time I was able to roll it in. A really clutch putt there. I was pretty happy about that. So, despite a kind of a slow start, 7 over after 7, I got back on track, especially the last 7 holes, 7 fairways in a row. That never happens. And even more important, I felt, were the last 3 holes. I was able to get up and down from off the green, 3 out of 3, and that's how I was able to sneak in a birdie and finish at 9 over for the round. Again, as we end with some bonus footage of Rachel playing the beautiful 7th hole here. Even if I were to have shot a really bad score, like the course is so nice and so beautiful that it still would have been an amazing trip. So really grateful to have been able to go, and if you ever are in that part of the world, I definitely recommend that you give it a chance. Thanks for watching.